Whoopsie daisy. Wasn't easy putting you into a second sleep, and he almost woke you up.
So then, all that stuff I just saw, did you put that in my head?
No. That wasn't stuff. It was a dream. The falling asleep part was definitely our bad. But we can't put stuff in your head. Hey, I got an idea. Ask your heart. See if it's got a clue.
Well, my heart was aching. That's why I kept going.
Oh, thank you, Sora's heart, for pushing him right into our clutches. Aren't hearts great? Steer us wrong every time.
You know, right? Because you all have hearts. Axel, and Roxas, and Naminé, and that other girl. I felt what Roxas felt. And they laughed together, got mad, and they grieved. You have to have a heart to cry.
It's about time you noticed.
Indeed. A heart is never lost for good. There may have been variances in our dispositions, but a number of us unquestionably showed signs of a burgeoning replacement. Once born, the heart can also be nurtured. Our experiments creating Heartless were attempts to control the mind and convince it to renounce its sense of self. But understand, one can banish the heart from the body, but the body will try to replace it the first chance it gets, for as many times as it takes. And so I knew, even after we were divided into Heartless and Nobodies, it was just a temporary separation.
Why then? Why did you lie to them and tell them they had no hearts?
Xemnas and Xehanort formed the organization for a specific reason. Round up a bunch of empty husks, hook them up to Kingdom Hearts, then fill them all with the exact same heart and mind. Translation? They were gonna turn all the members into Xehanort.
Make more Xehanorts? You tricked your friends to... But you, aren't you scared of just turning into someone else?
Me? I'm already half Xehanort.
That's nuts.
However, through weakness of body, weakness of will, or weakness of trust, most of the original members we had chosen for the organization were inadequate. Thus, naturally, they never had a chance to attain their goal. Yet, even this was to be expected. We have learned of the heart's folly, and we have achieved our other goals. This last excursion has proven to be a worthy closing assignment for the organization.
Just stop it! You treat people's hearts like bottles on a shelf, but they're not. Hearts are made of the people we meet, and how we feel about them. They're what ties us together even when we're apart. They're what make me strong.
Duh. You're strong because of the ties you have with other people. As if the Keyblade would choose a wimp like you. But no pouting. We see much bigger and better things in your future. Once you side with us.
I know the Keyblade didn't choose me, and I don't care. I'm proud to be a small part of something bigger. The people it did choose. My friends, they are my power!
Those are just words. You've lost. Fine. See where your power gets you here. Xemnas! He's all yours!
Flesh bears the sigil, so your name shall be known as that of a recusant.
It's time for the rematch. Also, a lot was unpacked there. You may be asking, did they just fucking retcon what nobodies are? Yes. Yes, they did. Or at the very least, they retconned how the organization was set up. And what their plan in Kingdom Hearts 2 was. Which, it's plausible, so I'll take it. It also works within the boundaries they've been setting up for the past couple of games. Kingdom Hearts 2 was always interesting that the features of Xigbar and Cyax have pointy ears just like Xehanort, and those golden eyes. They even had this set up from Birth by Sleep when you have a specific moment where Braig's eyes suddenly go from their natural color to golden right before the end of any of the character stories where he shows up, and they specifically zoom in on his eyes to highlight this. So the plan we know now is Xehanort plans to come back and also assimilate all of a new organization into him. For what purpose? Well, we gotta keep going to find out. And also the idea that Sora's continued to be in multi-layer dreams. That everything he's seeing is not Fae, it's the result of all the people within him reacting. His bonds, his connections, or the connections that the people within him have, like Ventus. It's all coming together. Also, this fight's fucking hard. Like, super hard. But also, I wasn't focusing too much. I wanted to unpack as much as I could. You can tell that on virtue that I wasn't spamming the shit out of Balloon. You know for a fact I'm about to spam the shit out of Balloon. The whole idea that this is all to get Sora to join the villain group, and it's a big, giant trap for that, is pretty interesting. Which is also something I don't think people could have predicted from the jump. I have to say, I quite like that. Question, am I invincible in this phase? Let's see. Looks like it. I'm just gonna roll Xemnas with my ball. Yeah! You can't stop me now. And as soon as this is done, I'm just gonna heal. Oh, much better. Let's get away a little bit here. I'm already low. I'm already low. I need to pack more than one cure. I love the fact that Xemnas has upgraded his tech to 4 walls. He's like, that'll get the kid. Alright, hold on. Just do proper spacing. And that'll get the damage I need. His teleports are quick. He's stronger than ever. These walls are horrifying. And this remix of his battle theme is one of the best tracks in the series. It's very good. Let's pop in roll call again. And roll call's immediately canceled because we pushed the next phase. Oops. It's okay, they didn't take it away from me. Alright, we need to just contend with his attacks here. He's prepping for the big one. In terms of fights, I do enjoy this one. Alright, here's our shot. Wait for it to get close. Reality shifted. Alright, one more. We got 2 shots. There. Alright, now we just simply need to go in. He's tired, which will allow me an opportunity to go in. And he's like, you know, I've had enough of that. Can we just go back to the regular fight? And I'm like, absolutely, buddy. Alright, let's make use of our links. The invincibility of this is pretty busted. Look at this epic battle. This will be the boy to save the world. Alright, let's just do Flame Raid. I was low and scared. Yeah, we're gonna run away. Okay. This is a bit comfortable now. And just like that, we're done. I don't even have to look at him. I'm just gonna walk away.
You... again.
You just make it too easy. I know you think you've won, but you lost the moment you dived this far in. You're in the deepest pit of slumber, and you've worn yourself down to nothing. There's no returning to the world above.
What do you mean?
We told you. It was not the sleeping keyholes that guided you. They are not the reason you are here. You've been on a path, one we laid out for you. That sigil on your chest is the proof.
What?
See, that sigil, the X. It tells us where you are at all times. You had wondered aloud before why we kept showing up where you were. It's because we need you, Sora. Or, to be more precise, we need what will be left of you. The 13th Dark Vessel.
Why...
Why was it assured you would come here today? Because I followed my destined path, and I'm here looking at you right now. You can move through time, but time itself is immovable. Today, all of my selves throughout time were meant to gather here. And to welcome you, Sora, as our 13th member. These facts cannot be changed.
What's gonna happen?
I have now told you all that I know. We are all here, and what the future holds in store is beyond my sight. I will return to my own time and grow into the man who becomes all these others. While I know this future now that I have lived it, returning to my own time will erase the memories and experiences I have gained here. Still, my appointed path is now etched in my heart, which will first lead me to seek the outside world.
Riku.
Your heart will sleep forever in the folds of darkness, and your body will be another vessel for me. So light gives way to darkness. Good night, Sora.
So, with Sora asleep, it's time for Riku to take charge. Now, as far as I know, this is the end of the drop meter, which means we're free to do as we please now that we've done that. Our only goal now, well, for me personally, is to nail a nice rank. I would love to get an A rank. I aim to get it. This is gonna be a tight squeeze. Ugh. Some good charges in there. This is gonna be a toughie. Make minor adjustments and the ring is open. I think I did that pretty fast. Nice. All done.
Where am I now? Why am I here? I unlocked all 7 keyholes, so I should be back in the world I came from.
Now, here's Mirage Split. It looks similar and functions the same. as Sora's reality shift, but the chains are less chaotic. Mostly because Riku is not going through the same amount of nonsense. So as you can see here, there's no drop meter. You can just play and not worry about it. One interesting little note or tidbit here is why, in general, is are we in our young clothes? Like, before I had already kind of set up that, hey, they're in their younger forms because it is a transformation of magic via Master Yen Sid for this type of Mark of Mastery exam that he created. And the way Namor describes it is that they would only be able to return to their normal forms if they returned to Master Yen Sid. And that's the way he describes it. Is it all weird? Yes. But that's why we can still be in this material world while them still being in their young outfits. Or, if you want the true reason, they did not want to animate all of the battle stuff for the final world with the new models, or with the old ones. Because that would be fucking insane. You'll have to remember they also had 2 years to make this game as opposed to the 4 years to make Birth by Sleep. Which, in case you were wondering, Birth by Sleep was decided to be handled by the Osaka team before Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. This one, they rushed it out, which is surprising because it does feel pretty complete. But they ended up rushing this one out, partly at the response of Birth by Sleep and Recoded sales weren't nearly as good as they would have wanted, and they're like, fuck it. Maybe people are tired of these portable games. Let's get this team on KH3. And Nomura said, well, Nintendo wants us to make a new game, and I want to set up for KH3 because I just don't want it to start where it is. I've been setting things up. So this is our chain of memories for 2 to 3, and the way the chain of memories was, 1 to 2. Which all makes sense. We need to change up how I play, because this last section fucking kicks my ass. First off, Dark Break, we'll keep it until we have something better, but we're gonna move things around. This is the point where the game just starts hitting up its difficulty curve. On top of that, it just shit's really hard. Like, stuff is very difficult toward the end here. These encounters can just really put you through the ringer. So I'm going to end up selling certain commands that I have no plans on actually using. Like, I don't need 2 Shadow Breakers. Stuff like that. Magnet Spiral. Who needs her? Then we're going to go over here, and then we're going to go and buy some cures. We're going to buy 2 cures. And is that good enough? That's gonna have to be good enough. I'm at the point where I don't actually have once more yet, and I'm wondering how I'm going to handle things. I'm a little stressed. Because I think I'm gonna need it, because I believe that's combos. And there are some bosses here that will deliver some combos. I did not switch my Keyblade out. I'll be doing that in a second. So, you basically know the majority of the plan here. A brand new organization is being formed with assimilated people who will all be under the name Xehanort. They will all bear his pointy elfish ears and golden eyes. But for what purpose? We don't know. It's probably related to Kingdom Hearts. You know that. There's still more to learn with that. But we have the basic cliff notes. And then everything has been leading up to it. They also outline some additional stuff with the time travel. Specifically, 1, you can't go to a time you didn't exist. And you cannot stop stuff that's destined to happen. And you can't... There's no way for him to know these future events. Now, what we've noticed is that usually young Xehanort isn't too far behind all of the appearances of his other forms, whether it was Xehanort's Heartless, which would be the Ansem Seeker of Darkness, or Xemnas. And this is because of the way, this is how Nomura describes it. The person who went back in time and offered their body, because when you do time travel, you basically sacrifice your body so that you can travel through time with your heart. And the only reason that Sora and Riku were able to travel back in time to start their Mark of Mastery exam without that happening to them was through Yensid's magic. He's using his power to allow them to have a younger form as they go through this. Xehanort, not so lucky. So Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness from KH1, sacrifices his body in exchange for the power of time travel. Goes back and meets his younger self, young Xehanort, the one we're seeing right now, before he even has thoughts about venturing to other worlds and becoming a Keyblade wielder. It's here that he then passes on the ability of time travel to him. This, of course, is a sacrifice that ultimately leads to the Ansem Seeker of Darkness not really having a body anymore. Him just being this husk of darkness. The very one that we see in Kingdom Hearts 1. That ultimately needs to possess Riku to actually attain his proper form. This also explains why the Heartless is kind of a punk, and needed Riku in the first place to really be anything worth a damn. Which was always kind of an interesting thing, where it felt like the nobody got the good deal with him having a full body. So that explains that, or retcons things, as people would say. So he does this, and what does passing on this power to young Xehanort really do? Well, one, it sets him on this path to be where he is today, but it gives him, he becomes a conduit. He becomes a portal of time travel. He has the ability to travel through time freely without sacrificing the use of his body. This explains why, hey, wait a minute, if he's given up his body, why isn't he just like a floating heart or some shit? It's because Ansem Seeker of Darkness gives him that ability. But then you have to go, well, how does Ansem Seeker of Darkness appear into this game? How does he appear here if he's the one that sacrificed it? And that's the beauty of it, they're fucking cheating. Since he gave young Xehanort that ability, what he's doing is he's pulling the Ansem Seeker of Darkness from the end of KH1 into this current timeline. So effectively, the final boss of KH1 sacrifices his body to put himself in the state that he is in KH1 to pass on the ability of time travel and other bullshit to young Xehanort. Then young Xehanort travels to the future and then pulls in Ansem Seeker of Darkness at the end of KH1 as opposed to the beginning, so that he can be at his prime and be a prime member of Neo Organization 13. And that is my understanding based on reading direct quotes from Nomura about it. In the end, time travel allows him to do all of that. All of that is possible. However, there are things that happen. Once, if you are defeated when you time travel, as far as they have shown, you just get thrown back. You are then returned to where you once existed. And it's no problem. You're just there and you lose all memory of whatever you did as you traveled through time. And that's one of the many, many caveats. Some may say, KZ, that sounds really fucking stupid. I am never going to defend this time travel as being smart or anything like that, or the best written thing ever. I'm not going to say anything like that. Do I think it's like shitty writing? I don't really think that either. To me, it's fascinating. It's very much up its own ass. It is so far up its own ass. But in the service of the plot, it's something that this bad guy would do. It's something this bad guy would do, and I think you can all see what the big reason behind it is. They wanted to wrap up the arc that is this story. This Seeker of Darkness saga. The Dark Seeker saga is what I've seen him call it. Some people call it the Xehanort arc. They want to wrap it up with Kingdom Hearts 3. And what's a cool way to wrap it up with Kingdom Hearts 3? Well, what if our main villain brought back every version of himself, and every other major villain comes back, and it becomes a greatest hits list, a super team? Because how could Sora and the gang possibly defeat Xehanort? You get what I'm saying? Which is effectively what we see in trailers. Like, you've seen trailers, you've seen Vanitas is back, you see that Marluxia is back, though I have very big doubts that he's with Xehanort. You see all of these characters returning, and it's all for the purpose of, one, making super dope boss fights in KH3, giving them a big send-off. And also, just setting up this big, final, ultimate plan. I see so many people shit in this game, and I get why. I get why people can have a problem with this. One, because in a way it makes it so technically the things you do in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 don't matter, because it's all destined to, it was all destined to be recontextualized in this. So I can see why some people have issues with it. Me personally, I still feel like they're enjoyable because they're all a part of this arc. My feelings and my experiences from Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 don't suddenly change just because Nomura decided that all of the things we did in this game have led up to something different. Like that, none of that changes for me. I'm gonna lose my fucking Dream Eaters if I don't hurry here. Here we go. Why are you guys down here? There, you're back. Ultimately, I find the stuff really fun. For me, it's very, very weird. Because there are a lot of people who say that'll get excited even for the stuff with Kingdom Hearts, and they're like, well, I've given up on the story, it's impossible to understand. It's not impossible to understand, it's just fucking bonkers. It's bonkers, but ultimately it's not that hard to understand. Yo, Xehanort's just fucking plugging in his fucking consciousness into a bunch of people. He's just Voldemort, only anime. You don't need a fucking college degree to understand what the fuck this dude's up to and what he's doing. Could it have been told in a more eloquent way, in a more sensible way of Xehanort ventured within the realm of darkness. He has returned, but he returned early. And Master Xehanort has now used the power of some dark sigil looking shit. And its magical powers allow him to reach beyond time. And then you enter the time travel rules that he presented. And he literally creates a portal that he can control that brings in his people. You could have done that, and that's a little bit easier to get than, so his KH1 version did this. But like everything else, Nomura has to make it as complicated as possible to make it seem feasible that everything was predestined. And I'm like, you know what? Alright. I kind of appreciate it from another way of thinking, just because when you're waiting so long for KH3, you want there to be a lot of hype behind it, but you also want these side games to have something really interesting to chew on for the people playing them. And I think they achieved that with this. So in the end, I really like the entire time travel plot. I think it's really fun. I mean, for people who want to get mad, like, this is a Disney Square partnership, they really fucked it up because it's all complicated and it's like the story's impossible. It's like, you're not going to get through to those people. And those people that get mad and say the side games don't matter, or they get mad that they matter, or they get mad that the story is like this, and all that stuff, it's like the series just isn't for you anymore. In the end, I like a director who has continued to who has continued to stick by what their vision is and deliver the thing that they want to deliver. And so many times I see developers, directors, people that make art compromise. They go, alright, well, we need to make this accessible. We need to make this accessible to this thing, so we're just going to do it like this. The people at Square, and it's more than just Nomori, it's Tai Yasue, who's the one behind Osaka Team, co-director of every one of these games since Birth by Sleep came into being. It's everyone working there have delivered something different. They haven't compromised, they've continued to iterate on the series and add on to its story. They didn't go for something simple, they went with something that they truly found engaging and interesting. And I feel like some respect can come to that, and I know some people aren't like that because they're like, I think the writing's bad, so it's bad. It's subjective. Which, one, it's not, and two, alright, that's your take, however misguided in my opinion I think it is. But there is the one thing where you can say, I think the story of Kingdom Hearts is bad. I think the story of Kingdom Hearts is written badly. Those are takes you can have because those are subjective opinions, and I totally respect it, and I can understand why you come to that decision. For me personally, as someone who enjoys action-based anime, and someone who has enjoyed these games, and has followed them for years, every new thing that they introduced, Vanitas, Xehanort, all of these different aspects, I've liked them. I haven't forced myself to like them through blindness. I've disconnected myself from that. I've had to wait around for these new games as time has gone on. And I've continued to enjoy them. I've continued to cherish. And nothing is fake with how I feel about this stuff. When Xemnas shows up in a KH3 trailer, or Vanitas, or Marluxia, or any reference to this stuff, it gets me excited because I want to see this all come together. And the best thing is that Kingdom Hearts, unless it bombs, which KH3 is not going to bomb, because good lord, the pop when that game comes out. When it continues, it's going to continue with a new story. A new story with some of these characters like Sora continuing past it. And it's going to be able to reboot itself. But whenever I see the take, the KH3 should have disregarded the things that came before it to make it accessible for the people who didn't play those side games. It's the one time, more recently, when it comes to me like thinking about things in a more broad sense, in a more logical way, and a more kind way when it comes to games. It's one of the one times where I say to the people who want that or who ask for that, go fuck yourself. This is ours. This is ours. I am someone who has lived through this series for, 16 years now. I got a PS2 for the first game. I continued to play them, follow coverage on the games when I started using the internet. I've lived and breathed this series fully and completely. And for someone to go on the sidelines and say, no, a different team should handle this, Nomura shouldn't be in charge of this series anymore, they should adapt this series, they should get less of the Square influences out, they should make KH3 this way. No, they should not. Because this series has done so well and has resonated with people so much because of what has been laid out. Would I have loved for everything to go better? Would I have loved for Birth by Sleep to be a PS2 game, for Dream Drop Distance to be a PS3 game, and then we get Kingdom Hearts 3 and maybe the story to be upped a little bit? There are improvements like that I would have liked. But the path that we have walked is one that I enjoyed walking. And I think it's really fucking stupid, the idea that some people just go, I don't like this, you should change it to satisfy me. And I'm like, no. We're gonna ride this out to the very end. And yeah, that is some words I had to say about this series. My honest, true feelings on its recent entry we're playing right now, its story and everything. Damned if I do. I love what they did with this game and its narrative and what it's setting up for 3, because 3 is looking to be the game of my fucking dreams. And this story is the story of my dreams, which is appropriate given the game we're playing right now. Next time, we will ascend up there. You almost pushed me onto it, you dinosaur bastard. I'm going to be grinding in between, though, because the next section is very, very, very difficult, and I am taking hits really, really hard. This is the moment in which the difficulty curve explodes. So I need to make sure I'm ready, so I'm going to grind several levels, get the once more ability on Tyranto, and next time on Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, part of the Kingdom Hearts series, we will, well, we'll be on our way to finishing this game. Also, most likely, we will open the next episode with me fighting the game's secret boss, as I need to actually do that. We have not done that yet. There is one secret boss that I'll be showing off. It's the only piece of optional content I'll be covering for Dream Drop Distance. I really liked having this conversation with you guys and my audience. It's something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while recently, and very, very much so in the past, as we have finally gotten to the end of this game. We're getting to the point where a lot of this Let's Play is stuff I've so much wanted to talk about since January of last year, when I decided I was going to do this project. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you as we get ready to wind down the final minutes of Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. Until then.